Principles of empathic communication. The heart has its reasons, which reasons knows of, not of. That's a quote by Pascal. Communication is to share or to be in relation with. It involves more than one person, and communication is complete if both parties understand the information passed. Seeking first to understand before being understood is the key principle to interpersonal communication. It involves a very deep shift in paradigm. Diagnose before you prescribe is a correct principle in many areas of life. It helps all kinds of communication thrive. All right, when it comes to empathic listening, this requires that we just forget about ourselves and concentrate on the person that is communicating with us or that we are communicating with. The person that is tendering his report or whatever challenge he wants to solve. So this will require that whatsoever we know, our head knowledge, our experiences, and whatsoever, that we should just zero our mind and be clear from those things. So we should actually listen to understand the person. We stay calm and listen to the person in order to understand him so that we can render the solution that the person needs. We don't need to start giving the person, oh, when the person is talking, we start replying, okay, oh, this, it happened to me before, or this or that, or you try to use the same pattern you used to solve the problem of Mr. A to solve that of Mr. B. It doesn't work like that. We have to see this person as a different personality. We are made of, just see the person as a different species, somebody that you have not met before. You have not heard the story, any story about him. He's just a different and unique being, a new being that is just coming to you. So that's where empathic listening is very, very important, that we listen with our minds so that we can be able to give the person the solution. But when we try to diagnose or to prescribe before we diagnose, we can start judging the person, or we give the person our own autobiography on how we solve the problem, and that doesn't work. Because if people see that we are not bringing the solution, they may not want to open up to us. So in any relationship, we will seek to understand the person first before we seek to be understood. That's how it works perfectly, because understanding people are in our own control. So now, for instance, you cannot use the recipe for afang soup to cook ogbono soup. If I see that you are trying to use the same recipe to prepare, you use for afang to prepare ogbono, my dear, I will know that you are already cooking poison. So I will just go away from there. I will not even come back. If it's a restaurant, maybe I try to eat, I try to enter there and realize, I will just run away. That, in short, I will not even advise people to come there to eat. So that's how it is in relationship, in communication. So we are supposed to listen to them in order to understand and not just to reply. Thank you. Next slide, please. This is about the 4 basics of communication. We can see it written there already: reading, writing, speaking, listening. And when we look at the slide, it's obvious that although we communicate through these various means, but listening is the most powerful one. That's the most important one. People can read and understand, or their mind may not be there, or we speak, people may not be, but when we listen to people, or people realize we are listening to them, when we are able to even combine these 4 basics of our communication, it gives us the best results, so we can impact people's life. We don't just rush into giving them advice or solution. We are supposed to show care. Our behavior must match with what we are giving them. The words, they say that action speaks louder than word. So we should be able to give them what will transform them, else they will not come to us again. So that's how it works in any relationship. If I see that you are not listening to understand, you just want to tender your own, or you just want to hear from your own angle, So there's no need speaking with you because that's a waste of time. So in any relationship, for you to strive, whether in business, anywhere at all, in careers and jobs, empathic listening is what is needed to balance or to make it a success. Character and communication. Yeah, just like I said before, communication is the most important skill when it comes to relationship and everything in life that we are doing with as far as it concerns human being. So we should our characters should match with our words. It should not be like follow my word, don't follow my footsteps. The person must know that we truly care about them and not just what we want to give them. You should not be in a haste to rush and give them solution when we have not understood where they are coming from. We have to see from their own lenses. Our character must blend with what they are, or what we are trying to give them. So in order for them to know that we really care for them, it's not just about us. That's like, okay, when it comes to levels of listening, we have we listen sometimes. We say we are listening, but we are ignoring the person. We are not listening to understand the person. So in this matter, this John Charles, you may say, we must always try to be empathic when listening to people, understand them, make sure that you open your mind for them to influence you with what they are trying to pass down to you. Because when they notice that you are not you are trying to use technique on them, they will not come back to you, they will not listen to you, or they may hold back, they may not want to continue with you. So that's how it works in the levels of listening. We must use them, but the most effective one is empathic listening, which we listen to understand people so that we can solve their problem. That does not necessarily mean we must agree with them, but we have to show concern and care, that we really care about their emotion and about their feelings. Let's like this. Okay, I'm gonna use one example. For instance, okay, this is talking about skills of empathic listening. They make rephrase. That's just like what we displayed on the first slide. That's the good example of skills of empathic listening. For instance, we could see that a man, maybe, or his teacher or his mentor was talking, and the person was like trying to, I don't even understand about this goal setting. Must I state it for me to? And the teacher was just rephrasing what he was saying, or trying to answer from his own view. He wasn't looking at the lady's lenses to try to understand her, or what may be her difficulties, the things that she's not able to do, and know how she can help her. So, but when it comes to relationship or communication, the first thing we will do is that we try to be in that person's shoe. We should humble ourselves. We should think twice. We should just be patient. Try to hear this person out. So we don't diagnose, or we just give them our own autobiography to use and solve their problem. It doesn't work like that. So this is where we have to be very careful when we are listening or communicating with people. If we must get the best result out of them, if the relationship must last and if it must influence them, we have to practice the best type of listening, and which is empathic listening. Next slide, please. More.
Okay, so you should be rounding off now. Like your time is already up.
Okay, wanted to talk about diagnosing, diagnosing before we prescribe. Sorry, there was a bit delay about that. Okay, diagnosing before we prescribe. Uh, is very, very important. Like I said, for instance, I can use a scenario where uh, about last 6 years I wasn't feeling fine, and I went to the hospital to consult a doctor. I had a cold, and then because I hate kata, I angrily blew my nose, and then the thing choked my heart, and it was as if they nailed my heart to one certain place. I couldn't move very well. I couldn't turn, even when I'm lying down on bed. So when I went there, and the doctor now asked me what happened, and I told him. So because he wasn't listening to me, he went ahead to tell me that I'm going to do ECG test, and he sent me away from the hospital to another lab where he can get some card for, maybe they will pay him some amount of money as part of his own. So, and as I went there, I look at the thing. My mind didn't accept it. I just came back to him and asked him, "Is there no other way I can do this thing? What of the lab of this hospital? He says it's not working." And the man, I said, "Okay, what else can I do?" He now sent another person to also take me to another lab, and I refused to go. And I told the man, "Can you just prescribe some medication for me that I can use first? Then I see how it works before I can now come for the ECG you are talking about. That I don't have the cash now." So the man prescribed some medications. He gave me a prescription of ulcer medicine and then for pens. So when I go there to the pharmacy, I tender the what he wrote for me. I gave it to them, and they checked and sold the medicine for me. But when I got home, I took only the pain medicine for pain relief. I didn't use that ulcer medicine because I know I was not suffering from ulcer. So my the lesson from there is that this man was after the money he could get from there, you get from there, and not after my own health and life. So without me trusting that his prescription, there is no how, or his diagnosis. I didn't trust his diagnosis, so I didn't also trust his prescription. So at least I went with what I knew. And by the time I drank that medicine, the first time, the second time, I got myself perfectly. I didn't have to return to the hospital. Thank you.